Everybody, we're here today with John McEwen. You may know him. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, ring a bell? So John has a new CD. It's called Made in Brooklyn. You recorded it in a church. Talk about this a little bit, how you came up with the idea, why the songs you chose are on the project, and give everybody a little insight to what you're doing.
Well, for the past 50 years, I've been traveling the road, the lifelong dream of a teenager from Orange County, California. The dream was to get out of Orange County, and it worked. I started playing the banjo at 18, and it seemed like I needed a group to get on the radio. You can't get on the radio with just the banjo, and the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band was forming, and that led to the 50 years of that, running into a lot of people that I've admired. Every time I run into certain people, I go, I got to keep track of him. Like John Cowan or David Bromberg.
Yeah.
The fiddle player, Jay Ungar and Martha Redbone. All the people that are on this album are people that I've wanted to record with over the years. And a couple of them I have a little bit. We've played shows or did a TV show. Variety of things, but I wanted them together, and they didn't all know each other. A couple of them knew each other, but there was that 1 degree of separation thing. When I got them together in the studio, it was like it was like a class reunion. That they hadn't been together for a long time. They were all friends musically. Their notes had combined in attitude and put them in the same kind of what's called Americana, or folky, folk world, or acoustic music world. And the date came about to record an album because I ran into a guy named Norman Chesky while I was loading out of a club in New York, trying to get my stuff at 1 in the morning from the elevator to the sidewalk, and he started helping me. He says, what do you do? I said, well, I played the Iridium tonight, and my name's John McEwen. Oh, I know you, yeah, and we started talking. He goes, I said, what do you do? He said, I'm a record label. I have a record label. I was like, yeah, baby, I got a record label. Chesky Records has put out over 400 albums of high quality, high definition recordings. And we started talking. Now, years ago, I put together an album with the band and my brother called Will the Circle Be Unbroken. I asked Earl Scruggs one night if he'd record. He was playing in Colorado. And he said, I'd be proud to. And of course, I had the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band kind of behind me, in a sense, because he was aware of the group.
Sure.
I wouldn't have been able to ask that question if we hadn't had airplay. And a week later, I asked Doc Watson. He came along, and then the whole thing came together, and it was a type of recording that was all recorded with just 2 tracks. So when we finished a song, it was done. We're not can't mix it. There's only 2 tracks. And the sound quality was immensely better than anything that was out in the competing era in the era of that time. Because when you record 16 or 24 tracks, you have to mix it down to 2, then make a copy of that. We were 2 copies closer to the disc that was being made. Now, I told Norm about how I like to record first takes and as much as possible get all the energy on a recording as you can at one time, not do it in pieces.
Yeah.
We're going to do the vocals on Wednesday, and then we're going to do the bass over on Thursday. That's not how the great records were made, and I like that challenge. He says, well, I record with 1 microphone. I said, how can you do that? You make stereo records? No, they're better than stereo. And he played me some examples. There's that one, we got $50,000 worth of mics in our studio. There's 22 of them. Well, he has one $50,000 mic.
Wow.
And it's called a binaural mic, and it sits in the middle, and people gather around it. And the engineer, you run the song through, okay, you have to move back a little bit, and you move in a little bit, and why don't we move you over there? Because you're kind of crowding what's coming from this section.
Sure.
And then you play the song. You hit record, you play it. A few minutes later, okay, next.
Wow.
And when you listen to it back either in speakers or your car or headphones, especially headphones, it sounds like you're in the middle of the group.
I bet it does.
And It's like surround sound without the surround speakers.
Yeah.
And since he wanted to do that, and all these people were going to come, we set a date and we recorded for 2 days.
And to get that many people of that stature in the room at the same time was a challenge in its own, just trying to get schedules to all mesh and everybody. And
Getting them there wasn't a problem. Getting them scheduled to be there was, I had set 4 different dates. And finally, I call everybody, okay, April 5 and 6. If you want to come in the night before, let me know. Oh,
Yep.
Bromberg, yeah, come in the day before and we'll rehearse.
yeah.
Oh, Steve, I'll be at your house. Steve Martin's one of the players. He
Yeah.
plays banjo on the cut.
Yes.
And he likes to rehearse. So
Yeah.
a few days before, Matt Cartsonsis and I went to see him and ran the song for a few hours. And everything Steve does, he likes to do as good as he can.
Yes, he does. Yes.
And then we rehearsed by email. I sent some specific things that I needed from the drummer guy, Kevin Twigg, who I couldn't have had a better drummer. He was the kind of drummer that you didn't know he was playing unless he stopped. And you kind of, where's all that,
Wow.
where's that
yeah.
nice filling feel? And recording in this church, it was all natural echo. You couldn't wear headphones because the sound from the headphones, the mic's about that far away.
Wow.
And the sound from the headphones would be picked up. You know, the sounds of the room, you drop your pick, you could hear it in the middle of a recording. So we got together and started laying them down, 15 songs in 2 days. And part of the inspiration, or part of the challenge, was thinking about where it all comes from or came from.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed in Maybelle Carter's house a few months ago, and I realized this was the right path. Driving from Maybelle's place, where she lived in the 30s and 40s, in the late 20s, to Bristol, to see what it was like for her to go record for Ralph Peer on one microphone.
Oh, yeah.
They made that trek, and they changed the world of music, the Carter family. I'm a big Carter family fan of the music. And Maybelle was a sweet lady, the sweetest angel that played the guitar. And I got to give her her first gold record.
Oh.
And it was for the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album. Took it out to her house when she was living here. Mama Maybelle, this is a gold record. It means that 500,000 people bought it. Well, I didn't think that many people even heard my old songs.
Oh.
Want some lemonade?
Yeah, I could.
Let me set this down over here.
Oh.
You know, and
Bless her heart.
so keeping that idea in mind of play it and play the next one. You don't hear the airline pilot come on and say, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking off in about 10 minutes. We're going down the road. Oh no, here we go. You know, he has to know what he's doing. So if you're in a studio with a bunch of instruments, you should know the song, play it.
Yep.
Okay, and
So how did you decide which songs? How did you go through the process of selection?
there's a bunch of songs that I've wanted to record over the years. Some of them are mine, and some of them are songs like She Dark the Sun, written by Bernie Ledden. Before the Eagles started, Bernie and Gene Clark wrote this, incredible song that I think captures the whole hippie country rock feel of the early 70s. What a crazy phrase, with the length of her mind, she darks the sun. But I'll be with you until my race is run is a great line too. I think he's singing, the song is about a girl that comes in the room and just kind of takes up all the space. You've seen them.
Yeah.
And even though it might be toxic or difficult, that's who that guy wants to be with. And there's something about that combination that makes it work. I listen to this song and hear it different every time. And for 20 years, I've wanted to get John Cowan to sing it. John Cowan being the guy from Newgrass Revival, now with the Doobie Brothers. And when I called him and told him the sessions were scheduled, he goes, you probably want me to sing She Darks the Sun. I said, yep. So he was in. Blue Ridge Cabin Home, when I was that Orange County kid, I had the Flatt and Scruggs album with that on it. And something that people never think about that song, Blue Ridge Cabin Home, classic bluegrass standard, it never uses the word cabin in a lyric. So it's really weird. But it transported me out of Orange County. It took me back to a place I'd never been but wanted to be. And I had to pay homage?
Homage, everybody says it different, yeah. Take a pick.
I felt it important to play porridge, fromage, homage to Flatt and Scruggs and that influence on me. I felt like the idea that John Carter Cash said he'd come if I called and got the session set. I've known John Carter Cash since he was 4.
Right.
And now he's like really big. Mm-hmm. And he's 44.
Yep.
And I said, I want you to do one of your dad's songs. One of the prettiest ones. I Still Miss Someone. Oh yeah, I'll be there. Why that one? I said, because I think it's a classic, not known that most people wrote it, but it's a classic not known by most people that Cash wrote it, but you do it, it's your song. You don't sound like your dad. Mm-hmm. You sound like a guy delivering the message, and you do it quite well. And I've been doing a lot of shows with John Carter, and he's one of the nicest, I can call it music royalty guys.
Yeah, absolutely he is.
And this is so much fun to work with him. And then he sang harmony on a Warren Zevon song called Dirty Life and Times. I needed to do, that was his first time, 2 first, more than 2. But one of them was John Carter singing backup on somebody else's record.
Oh.
He'd never done that before.
And that's surprising.
Yeah.
It really is.
And another first was Steve Martin being hired as a musician only. No, Steve, I only want your banjo. Leave the playwright, the screenwriter, the actor, the comedian, an art collector at home. Bring your banjo.
Yeah, I could see him sitting there with duct tape over his face because he's wanting to be so much more.
When he's in the zone of one thing, he doesn't either flaunt or do much about the others.
No.
I was recording him one time. Well, I produced the album on him called The Crow, and it won a Grammy.
Yeah.
Yay, thank you, Steve. And he was out there in the studio. I said, Steve, I need you to count this one off because you're the opening notes. And people have to come in right on. Yeah, okay, I get it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, Steve, stop. You got to leave the last number silent when you do the count off. Because, oh yeah, I get it. Echo in the room. Yeah. Okay, everybody ready? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 4. And everybody cracks up. Because that was maybe the only funny thing in 2 hours. You know?
Yeah.
Because he's so focused on what he's doing. But that funny part is still there. I took him a Deering Good Time banjo once because they're really cool. I wish I'd had one when I was learning how to pick. I took him up to a movie set in Toronto, and he was so excited. He was like a kid saw the train into the tree type of excitement, you know. It's here.
Oh.
And he's opening the box, and it's a $600 banjo, but it plays perfect and sounds great. And he knew about it. And his dog Roger is there. And this is the way Steve Martin is funny. And I don't know for who or what. It's just something that's in him. He's opening the box. Oh man, I can't wait to hear it. Roger, go get my picks. Oh, you don't know where they are. I'll go get them. You know. I was the only one there. Oh, me and the wardrobe guy.
Yeah.
And the dog.
So it's not like he's doing it for anybody. It's just who he is. He's just, yeah, that's awesome.
I thought that was really sweet.
So in the recording process, I'm trying to visualize, you're in this church. Are you the first person that's recorded in this church? Or is this somewhere kind of like the Ryman where in New York a lot of people use it because of the acoustics?
This church, the St. Elias Church, isn't functioning as a church anymore. And it's used exclusively by Chesky Records to record their projects.
Okay.
They've done over 400 albums in 30 years.
Okay.
So That's more than 2 a year, isn't it? That's like, what, 6 albums, 5, 6 albums a year. And they go there and record this process, because it's in Brooklyn, because it's quiet, and it's on a side street, and it's big, and you do this, and it goes, it's a perfect 2.5-second echo, without digital stuff. And you can get on top of the echo if you're close to the mic, and when you say to sing a word or play a note, if there's space, you can then hear the space. It's just the way that echo works. It's really wonderful. And Steve was playing on the song. He says, "What do you?" Looked at me and says, "What are you calling the album?" And I don't know yet. He goes, "You ought to call it Made in Brooklyn." And I don't know. Do you like the title?
I do like it.
It's like, what does that mean? Made in Brooklyn.
It makes people
What do they
want to
make in
pick it up and
Brooklyn?
look at it.
They make bagels in Brooklyn. They make pizza in Brooklyn. No, what is this? It's not a pizza. And it just stuck. And Brooklyn, New York itself, is a place of convergence all around the world. In fact, it is a fact that all the cultures in the world get along better in New York than anywhere else in the world. It's so difficult and challenging to live there. At one time I was getting in a cab, and the cab's coming off of the Midtown Tunnel exit. We're coming in. The cab coming up First Avenue, and a guy pulling out, and then a guy on a pedal cab, you know, a bike cab.
Yep.
This guy on the bike cab pulls out. This cab has to veer off to the left. This guy has to turn sharp because of that. There's a cab up here with a guy with a turban on. There's a Jewish guy, a turban guy, a hippie, and a Latino driving mine. This guy gets out and yells at him, "You almost cut me off." This guy gets out and says, "No, he did not see pedal cab. Pedal cab almost, he had to jump." "Oh, okay, that's what happened? Great."
Boom, and
Okay.
they're done. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And the music comes together. The melting pot of America has been musical more than anything, political or whatever, you know, political.
Yeah.
But musically, a fiddle player, oh, he's from Ireland. Oh, a mandolin player, an Italian instrument. Yeah, it came over from the old country. And, you know, guitar, Spanish, and then it turns into Delta blues and Bluegrass and Celtic. It all mixes together. But generally, it came through Ellis Island, and Brooklyn was a hot spot.
Absolutely is.
Last night I had 3 people that had never been on the Opry with me. John Carter had been on many times. And the band, we had 12 minutes to rehearse with the drummer, bass player, fiddle player.
Oh, wow.
3 songs. Was I worried? No. It's like, you just tell them, they have their charts. You send the stuff in advance. Oh, and some background singers. And it sounded like, I knew it would. So you have this tool, this stage. It's not just any stage. It's a stage that Acuff and everybody has stood on. You know, I've played on that stage with Jim and Jesse, and with Jim, and with the fiddle player, and with solo 5 times. But now I'm bringing this thing out. Here's John McEwen. And I know I'm not one of the names. I'm on the totem pole. Some places in the country I'm up in the middle of a totem pole, but I don't know where I am here, but I just know it was definitely a challenge. And I got nothing but Bill Cody was the DJ that was the announcer that night, was telling me, "You guys filled the room. You raised the roof." It went over, because I don't know if it goes over. I do my best, and if it doesn't go over, and I know it, fortunately it doesn't happen much, but if it goes over less than another time, I say, "Oh, what could I have done right?" If it goes over like this, I go, "Oh my God, we fooled them again." You know, but it was a great night to stand there and see those 4,000 people and know that it's on radio and it's the Opry stage. It was, couldn't have been better.
That's got to be a great feeling after, how long did it take for the whole project to come together from the time that you...
The Made in Brooklyn
Yeah,
project?
when you knew you were going to make it until it was done. How long?
2.5 years.
So it's been your baby for a while. And
It started being that last October, because the conversations with Norman Chesky at the record company just kept getting better. I had to ask him to step outside of his comfort zone a little bit. Trust me, I've got a good reputation. You got carte blanche. For a record company to say that to an artist that they haven't had before, just based upon what he knew and what he'd seen, because he came to see me play with some Cartsonsis and some of the people on the record. It's a gift.
it's a true blessing when you get that and you know that you can make something touching other people's lives with it.
That's the point of doing the whole thing, is you want to affect people's lives in the way that when they, oh, let's make sure we take this on the boat tomorrow. Hey, we got those people coming over for the barbecue. Let's have this plan. I got to borrow your copy because I just want to go to sleep. There's one of these songs on here that I just love to go to sleep. That's the way I am. I love to put on my favorite dream. I can be asleep right in the middle of the solo. And if I don't put it on, it can take 10 minutes to get to sleep.
Right.
But it puts me in that space. There's all kinds of purposes for music.
Absolutely is.
Sometimes it's in an elevator, and sometimes it's in a restaurant, but when it's in your life, which is a real important responsibility, to have somebody bring something into their life that's part of it. And I've had people tell me that. And it's like, gee, I better go practice. I got to write something new. Gee, if I'm writing this, maybe this will appeal to people. And so that's a fun challenge, you know? It's also my job.
Right.
Because I don't have a job. I haven't been caught yet.
Yeah.
I don't go somewhere and work for 8 hours and get X amount. It's always different when you get paid. It's always a different situation. And it's like being a carpenter. You build houses, but houses aren't always being built.
That's right.
And you're in the middle of one, you gotta be finding the next two.
Yep, absolutely true.
It's not like being a dentist or a gynecologist where you just fill out the thing, that's what you are. You wait, the phone starts ringing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Our shingles are a little bit different in the music industry, that's for sure. That's for sure. Are you going to be doing radio tour, or how are you promoting the album other than
I'm
the
trying to get on
albums?
Austin City Limits, and I hope that comes through. I'll be doing some Music City Roots show, syndicated radio shows, taking some of us out and playing the music from this album, doing some things like to reach you people out there and let you know if you like anything I've done, you're going to like this better. And this is, it's hype, yeah, but when the reviews come in, like one that says, John McEwen's new Grammy-bound album.
That makes your heart
It's
kind of
like,
skip a beat, doesn't it? You're like, wow.
oh, okay. And then he ends that review by saying, it should get Grammys in Americana or Bluegrass or both. Then it's like, well, good. It doesn't go to my head. It makes me feel like maybe
It was worth
I
it all.
fulfilled my responsibility. To
Absolutely.
the record company, to the other musicians, playing the arrangements that I gave them and the music, to the audience that is hearing it. And as you do that, it's like winning a chess game with yourself or something.
Yep,
Maybe not
absolutely.
yourself.
Yeah.
With 1,000 people.
Oh, well,
And-
John, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
And it's been fun learning about the process of making this new CD that you've got out. And it's always fun to see you play with the band. I know everybody's looking forward to the music, and if they want it, they can get it online, I'm sure, on all of your websites.
I
And
got some in my car.
okay, well, hey, if anybody's out and about, just flag him down, and we'll make sure you get one.
One of the important things I'd like to add about this album is I felt that a lot of CDs that are out today, a lot of recorded music, is doing that one song or two songs is really good on the album and you wade through the other 8 that are trying to be that. Now, that's when you're trying to make hit records and get the album known by that hit. I don't think there's any hits on here. I don't see any of this being played on country radio as a hit. But I think it'll get on FM and Sirius XM and places like that. And it will sneak out there, and it's like the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album.
Mm-hmm.
When we did that, I had to tell the record company president with my brother, this could be important. To us, it's very important to get Maybelle Carter, Roy Acuff, Astor Clemens, Earl Scruggs, Merle Travis, Jimmy Martin, etc., out to the audience in a bigger way. We didn't know it was going to be multi-platinum.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and that type of thing happens all the time.
it does. We don't
I
know the
believe that
plan.
bands and people don't make, I'm going to make a hit record. They just record the music. And as an example, with Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, we thought Mr. Bojangles was just an album cut. It'll get some play late at night.
Yeah,
The record company says it's going to be a single. It's like, oh, jeez. Well, that's it for us.
little did you know.
There's a very famous story about a bunch of guys sitting around finishing their album. We need one more song. Well, we don't have any. Well, what about that one that we rehearsed, we play in the dressing room a lot?
Right.
Let's okay, yeah, let's do that. It's acoustic, it's kind of different than the other stuff. What's it called? Dust in the Wind. They didn't know.
You don't know, no?
And so, what I'm saying there is, I like all this stuff, and I don't know how it's going to be. Some people might say, we need this for a film score, or I want this in my blah, 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 or that should be on the radio. So it's an exciting time.
It is exciting, and it's always such a blessing, and you really feel the gratitude come through when people reach you that you weren't aiming for. So that in itself, having the insight to know that you just don't know who's going to be listening and where it may lead, and you're doing it because of the love that's in your heart, and bringing all these people together, and you just don't know.
I'm looking forward to seeing, maybe that reviewer was right.
Ah, I am too. I am too. Well, thanks, John. We look forward to talking to you again.
Oh, thank you.
All right.